Anybody else got any questions or thoughts or conclusions there?
Just a comment. As a member of both the Planning Commission and the Steering Committee, Ms. Mark has been invaluable. They've been a huge help. They've been awesome. We are very much in their debt for the plan that we have before us.
Good. I've been through this several times. It's an arduous trip. And any help we get, we appreciate. And this, I think Eric is right. This is more futuristic. Past plans, for one reason or another, have been more of a
encyclopedia.
Reference material, encyclopedia, whatever you want to say. Yeah, it's more of a present state. This is more of a future state. Now, I think that's great. I think this suggestion to keep a committee going is really good. The thing that concerns me about that is the empowerment of that committee. I know as committees meet, if they just meet and bring suggestions back and nothing happens, that can be problematic. You lose interest, you lose faith, you quit meeting. So I don't know how we would address that. They're not going to have a budget, obviously, to go out and build sidewalks or put up flagpoles, whatever you're going to do. But I think that's something we need to consider as we go into that. I'd certainly be willing to serve on. I'm sure I'd get some of these other folks too.
And if I may, I would encourage that committee, meet when you need to meet, make it fun. Maybe you meet over lunch. This doesn't. You don't want to make it something that
it's
oh
not
gosh,
I gotta
go miss dinner with my family. Maybe having committee members, because you're not going to have some kind of official how do you put it? I mean, you could certainly move that direction if the city and county wanted to establish some kind of official joint planning committee. You can certainly do that. I think the idea is to meet when it's relevant, so that you don't feel like gosh, why did we have this meeting of this group again? So you really need to give some thought to the organization of it, the rules, the bylaw. Are we just going to get together as an informal committee? And a lot of times these regional type efforts end up starting out more as like a lunch gathering, small group kind of a thing. It may evolve into something as as you start implementing the plan and the city starts implementing the plan, the county, it may evolve into something more, it may require more of a time commitment if there's, if all of a sudden you're starting to work together on things you've never worked on before. There may arise a need to have a more formal joint steering committee for some reason. But at this time, getting it started, I think trying to find something that works for everybody is a good way to go with it. And try to have an agenda before you get together.
I would think that the city council as well as the planning commission would welcome a vision into the future. You folks deal with so many present day issues, and you're locked into worrying about budgets and personnel things and things that come before you. Whereas if you had an arm that was out there looking at 5-year plans, 10-year plans, 20-year plans, whatever it is, I would think you would certainly welcome something like that.
And I would envision it being purely advisory.
It would have to be. Again,
Purely.
you're not going to have a budget. You have to empower them with some kind of success, but at the same time, you got to be understanding you don't have a budget, so you can't really write checks for them.
Right. So if I could interject, I would like to go ahead and propose that we try to, at least within the next month, maybe come up with some people who are interested amongst maybe one member of council and maybe a couple planning commissioners, and I can make the same request toward the county, and so that we can get the ball rolling toward this.
Put that on our agenda for next month and we'll settle it right there.
I think my vision is initially maybe having biannual meetings, and at that meeting we go over the goals that we want to focus on.
And this is a good start right here.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and that would be a good way to introduce changes back to the planning commission, for the city and the county, out of this group. Maybe you're starting to some trend changes or some new development pattern. It's like, this is something we really need to change in the plan, and that would be a good, mechanism for kind of bringing it back to the city and to the county for amendments.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So Eric, as far as where we stand on this, I haven't looked at the version we got today yet.
Right, correct.
I did get
So
it.
Jason, could you
Yeah, I'll
touch
just
on
go
those?
through that real quick. So, let me find them. All right, so objective 7, which is goal 1, objective 7, where it has attract and promote unique accommodations throughout the Allegheny Highlands. Now, at the very end of that paragraph, there's an addition to the sentence there that talks about including the Commonwealth's tourism development program. And in relationship to that, there is a strategy and implementation section that encourages the county and the city to adopt tourism zones to implement that. So that's one change. Our communities will develop a regional economy, goal number 2, and goal objective 3. If you notice in the original draft, there was a real focus on paper mill industry, and the committee had, and the county, a couple other folks had actually talked about expanding objective 3 to talk about industry as a whole in the region, not a focus on the paper mill industry. So there is a change in that particular goal to not focus, and I don't have the language in front of me at this very moment, but it's basically just amending that paragraph to talk about the importance of economic development in existing industries in the region, not calling out specifically the paper mill, because this plan is not about focusing on one industrial sector. It's talking about a lot of different sectors, so that's one change. The change, let's see what I think here. So under the collaboration and provide effective, efficient services to citizens,
Where's that?
that's goal number 3. Under goal number 3, there is a strategy now that's in the end of your plan in the implementation section that calls out the need for the county and the city to implement the hazard mitigation plan. That's where that item got placed. And then finally, the county was a little bit concerned in regard to, let me put the right objectives here. Goal number 4, as I had mentioned, this mostly applies to the city anyway, but specifically objective C, objective D, and objective E. There were several places in there where we put both. For example, objective C is upgrade the quality of commercial spaces in the city of Covington. And we had proactively enforced property maintenance regulations to ensure the quality of non-residential buildings. And it says both. And so the county was concerned that people might be confused that the county is going to be responsible for enforcing property maintenance codes in the city, which is not going to happen. So that had to be changed to say city. And there were several places in objective C, D, and E where we had both that now say the city. Because, obvious reasons. You don't want the... I could just see someone pick this up and say, well, what do you mean the county's going to fund a program to assist owners in the, so that was it. So those were the two concerns. Now the county, they're still going to have their planning commission public hearing, and they're still going to have the public hearing with the board of supervisors. So there could be additional changes that may come from the county or suggestions, but as of this moment, there are not any additional comments.
So how are we going to marry that up? Obviously, if I remember right, Eric, our protocol is for our group to say, to bless whatever version we have in front of us, or revision. And once we do that, then we present it to City Council.
Correct.
Right? Now we've got this other disassociated entity we've got to put into this singular document. How do we know when we're ready?
Right, so what we've been doing is coordinating with the county staff also, so that on the same months, we're basically at the same step in the process. The one exception is tonight, where we have both of our boards here together basically at the same time, our council and our planning commission. The reason being, we had to have a public hearing. Otherwise, I probably would have had planning commission by themselves with the consultant tonight for the first stab at it. But since you were here, I figured you might as well hear the same information, garner the same information, have the ability to ask any questions, comments that council has. And so it's kind of putting us just a step ahead of the county at the moment. But from that point on, the process should go well. And we'll probably have to have some discussion still whether we would like to have Mr. Epley come back for the public hearings or not, or if we feel like it's something that we're ready to basically take ownership of, and any tweaks that we need to do, we coordinate with the county ourselves and do. It's kind of at the Planning Commission's discretion.
So next, assuming there are no more revisions, or no more changes, then this document we have now will become Web 1.
Right.
And then next time we could adopt it, we could act
Yep.
on it.
So next month, we could actually have our public hearing on it, and it could move toward adoption with council. And council, of course, if they, do you have any input, please.
Who is our interface with the county? You?
I've been with the county, yes.
So I would suggest we do that we try to keep the wheels moving by having a version in front of us that we can act on next time, unless the county comes back and says to you, wait a minute, you've got Rev 1, we got some things we want to change which will make Rev 2. So I think upon further notice, every month our goal should be to get the thing off our desk and on there.
Yep, and I think that's where we're at. We've basically done that with the county. This month, their planning commission saw and met with Mr. Epley. We're doing the same thing, basically right behind them on their schedule and our schedule in the same month concurrently. So next month, if you all are pleased with what you have and don't have any further revisions right now, I would suggest that we make an effort to move forward to our public hearing process.
Right.
And,
I would ask that everybody critically reads this new version that we got this afternoon, and then be ready to talk about it next time.
So I would ask you to see if we can get a motion that we move it forward to public hearing for Planning Commission next month at the meeting. Too soon?
Well, they need to meet again before the public hearing to say that's.
Yeah, they can. I was going
I would have to put the
assumption-
caveat on the motion if there aren't any more revisions or suggestions.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I think you all had this version of the plan in front of you for about a month. And, because we gave it to you at the last meeting. There's been a couple of minor tweaks, which Jason went over. We sent you an email with the updated plan today. And I actually forwarded Ms. Kales an email a minute ago. She doesn't know that had highlighted red the changes that went in. So they're a little bit easier for you to find, hopefully. But they're not in the body of the plan, but it spells out where they're at in the plan. But if you have... It's at y'all's timeline discretion. If you're comfortable, I would suggest we move forward. If you're not comfortable, then
I
we'll
would
make some
say
changes.
that at our next meeting, if nobody has any changes, we'll go ahead and schedule for the following.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to get going down
You
the
don't want the cart in front of the horse, do you?
So you're looking at April for.
Plus that gives the county time to act and react.
Yeah. Sounds like April for their hearing, and then we would move to you. Does that sound right?
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Everybody? Any questions?
Eric, does that need to be put in the form of any sort of motion, or can we just?
So not yet. We're just making our plan moving forward for next month so that you all have the opportunity for more revisions next month or more comment. If there's anything that needs changed, that's of any significance, and we can definitely coordinate with Jason and with the county staff to get that, make sure we're not doing anything detrimental to each other's plan. And that's kind of why I was so intent on the committee that we're suggesting, because one change on one side or the other affects how the whole plan works together.
Yeah, that's what worries me, is trying to keep all that orchestrated.
Yeah. I think, myself and right now the current county staff would be Glenn Ziegler. We would need to coordinate closely to have this committee meet, and that we're working on the same topics in the same time frame. That's why I was like biannually. So let's work on these, see if we can get these done, then we'll meet again in 6 months, update this committee, see where they want to go next.
Right.
So if at the next meeting, we're going to,
We're going to have a chance for final review, basically.
at that meeting, should we also try to appoint somebody from our commission to that board?
I think we should at least be thinking that way, of people who are potential candidates to serve on this. And so let me, in the next month, get with Glenn down at the county and see if we can get him headed in the same direction as getting ready to form and get interest in this committee and who might serve on their side.
And once we do that, it would be a formal vote in a meeting, right?
So it would be a committee, and it's just an advisory committee. So that committee would be advisory of where we go next with the plan, with goals and
But what I mean
objectives.
is, in one of our meetings, a PC meeting, we would do a formal vote to.
So yeah, the chair, as a point of order, the chairman creates committees that work on things for the planning commission itself. So he would ask for people to serve, and then you would volunteer, and he would appoint you to
And
that.
anybody that wants to do it can do it. I'm not gonna turn any of y'all down.
All right.
First two. Nominate. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jason.